All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Just wanted to ensure we had enough of our members joining us today to reach quorum. So we'll go ahead and get started. All right, good morning. My name is Waylon Matoir, Director of Student Success here at the Coordinating Board. And I would like to call this meeting to order at 10:09 a.m. for the Advisory Council for Post-Secondary Education for Students with Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities, meeting to order on November 17th, 2023. This meeting is being held via Zoom, and we are currently located at 1801 Congress Avenue at the George H.W. Bush 12th floor, meeting room 12103. Before we begin, I would like to take the opportunity to welcome those that have joined video conference and ask that they adhere to the following etiquette. Please be aware that although we are meeting via Zoom, this meeting is still being broadcast via the internet. Please mute your microphone when not speaking. Always keep your camera on. Our staff will establish a quorum through a roll call shortly. Each member should identify himself or herself prior to speaking for the record. Wait for one person to finish before speaking. Otherwise, comments may be muddled or unclear. Motions will be voted on by roll call. To ensure we have quorum, I will call your name, so please respond to confirm you are on the call. Ashley Ford, Aaron Banger,
Here.
thank you. Brenda Berrio,
Here.
Elizabeth Fuller,
Present.
Tracy Glass, Tiffany Grady, Linda Litzinger,
Here.
Christina Gushanas.
Here.
Did I say that correctly?
You did, thank you.
Susan Maraska,
Here.
Edward O'Neill, Christine Price,
Present.
DJ Puente, Jolene Sanders,
Present.
Beth Stalvey,
Here.
Tara Torres, Laura Villarreal, Nina Zuna.
Present.
Thank you. Please record in the minutes we have quorum. And at this time, I'd like to continue the meeting and go on into our agenda topics. First point of business is the approval of the minutes. You all should have received a copy of those minutes when I scheduled this meeting. Let's see. All right. Any questions with those minutes? Seeing none, I'd like to call a motion to accept the minutes for our last meeting on June 2nd, 2023.
I so move.
Is that Linda?
Yes, this is Linda Litzinger.
Thank you, Linda.
Second.
Who was that? Sorry. I'm looking down and can't keep up with my camera.
That was Beth Stalvey.
Thanks, Beth. All right, it's moved and seconded. All in favor, say
A.
A.
Any opposed? Seeing none, minutes have been accepted. All right, so next up is to talk about our council members. And because today you see some new faces and some folks are here with us for the first time, just want us to kind of go around and just introduce ourselves, let everyone know who you are, your role, and what institution or organization you are representing. And if you want to share anything else, please do so. But let's kind of move through it as fast as we can. All right. And we can kind of, I'll go through the list as I just did roll call. Dr. Banger, Aaron.
Hi, everyone. Aaron Bangor from Austin, Texas. I'm representing the Continuing Advisory Committee for Special Education. My day job is human factors researcher with AT&T. Glad to see some familiar faces and meet some new ones.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks for joining us and being a new member to serve on the council. Brenda.
Hello, everybody. Brenda Barrio. I am an Assistant Vice President of Research and Innovation at the University of North Texas. I'm also the co-founder and faculty lead for the UNT Elevar Inclusive Post-Secondary Education Program for students with intellectual disability. Great to see everybody.
Thank you. Elizabeth.
Good morning, everybody. I'm a student advocate from Texas Tech University. Happy to see everybody.
Yes, thanks for joining us, Elizabeth. Linda.
Good morning. I'm Linda Litzinger from Texas Parent to Parent, and we're seriously interested in transition and post-secondary. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Christina.
Good morning. I'm Christina Gushanis. I'm an assistant professor at Sam Houston State University and conduct research around the transition to post-secondary education for students with IDD.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for joining us. All right. Christine.
Hi, I'm Christine Price from Austin Community College, the STEPS program. We work, I was going to say primarily, but we only work with students who have IDD. So college at their level. Thank you.
Thank you. Jolene.
Hi, I'm Jolene Sanders. I'm the Advocacy Director at the Coalition of Texans with Disabilities. I'm also the parent of 3 boys. My oldest is 19, and we're working through this process now.
Awesome. Thanks, Jolene. Beth.
Hi, I'm Beth Stalvey. I'm the Executive Director at the Texas Council for Developmental Disabilities.
Thanks, Beth. Nina.
Hi, good morning. I'm Nina Zuna, the Associate Director of the Texas Center for Disability Studies, and E4 Texas is our post-secondary program for students with and without disabilities on the UT Austin campus.
Awesome. Thanks, Nina. Did anyone else join us or serving as a guest that
You skipped me.
I'm sorry. Sue, I'm sorry.
I'm Sue Maraska, the director of Houston Community College Vast Academy, the first IDD program in the nation. 33 years ago.
Sue.
I just had to put that out there because I can't believe it's 33 years already. My gosh.
It is.
But welcome everybody, and it's so great to see everyone, and I love seeing all these new faces. It's so exciting that this movement is growing.
It is indeed. Also with us today, I have my colleague Cheryl, and she's in the room with us today, and she'll start assisting us more closely with this IDD work as well, with special populations advocacy work here at the agency. So if you want to say anything or your title.
I'm Cheryl McWilliams. I am program specialist here with the Student Success Division. And I'm happy to be here, excited about learning more about the work that y'all have been doing and will do in the future.
All right. Thanks, Cheryl. So as we was talking and introducing ourselves, everyone, as far as our members, just want us to keep in mind, as far as our membership, we're constantly always trying to meet the threshold of having a full team and having the representation in which statute has provided to us. So I would just, if you know other students or other individuals that would be good assets to our advisory council, please let me know so we can reach out and just discuss next steps, what may look like to have them come aboard. As you see, there are several transitions over this last year with individuals taking new roles and responsibilities, getting new jobs, transitions, those sort of things. So we were able to fill in a few of those positions based on recommendations from that organization or other individuals. So thank those who have joined us. And moving forward, I know we also want to consider, as far as like our presiding officer, that term is coming to an end as well. So we will need a new presiding officer. So I hope someone would be interested in picking up the reins and leading this team and advisory council over the next couple of years to, strategize and put together a vision as far as what type of approach we would want to take addressing, the challenges and issues that we have within this community. So any discussion on that piece as of right now? All right. So with that, our next meeting, I would like for us to have nominations for this role as a presiding officer and elections at the same time. So with that, if anyone is interested or want to know more about the role, I mean, just when we start thinking about the position itself, please note, based on the presiding officer, they should be calling meetings on a quarterly basis, and maybe more than that, depending on the need based on our reporting, committees, those sort of things. Like I said, and just lead the team on creating reports that's been determined or outlined in our statute, and working with our team members, representation of our membership, consider hosting meetings in person. If not, then if you're still interested and think that may be a challenge, please let me know, because there may be some workaround, or we may be able to, we can provide funding to assist with that, with the travel to host those meetings. So please don't worry about that. And speaking about the travel and meeting, pre-COVID, we were able to meet in person. Now coming out of that and trying to find funding for travel and accommodations, I believe I'm in a position where I'll be able to call a meeting in person for everyone at least, once a year. So we need to determine, hey, what may be the best date for us all to come together, maybe sit down, be face-to-face, have some in-depth conversations, presentations, whatever, work on our report, those sort of things. What's the best time for us to come together to do that? So I just think that it'll be a good opportunity for us to come together as a team face to face. Again, other responsibilities, meet with us on a regular basis to keep, with the updates and the strategic planning of, our reporting and those sort of things in which we may want to address, and potentially be available for just representing the council on any matters related to recommendations from the report, any reporting, and possibly even sit in on some of our board reports when we have to submit our report or other activities that may call for representation. So any questions or concerns? Okay, Sue. You're on mute. You're on mute, Sue. Sue. You're on mute.
Sorry, I'm mute. Hi, Sue Maraska here. I was just wondering, I don't remember. I know that the recommendations are going to the coordinating board and they are reviewing them and they're posted publicly. Maybe I missed it, but since I've been on this advisory council, I don't really know. I guess I'm refresh my memory if I forget, but I'm not sure what of these recommendations are being implemented or what do you think is the next step with, I mean, I know we're giving these recommendations and they're wonderful recommendations and there's things that we are trying to do outside of the coordinating board, but I guess I just want to know, is there a committee? Is there someone there that when they review these, are they looking back to us then to implement these things or how is this working?
No, I think, from the council and its purpose is pretty much giving recommendations only, to the board. And unfortunately, that's the hard part because we do all this work and we want to, jump straight to like the implementation or what kind of feedback do we receive in order to make some of this come to fruition.
Well, you just said the magic word, the feedback. Are we getting feedback back that says, yes, we reviewed these? And I guess I was just wondering,
So at this time it's very minimum, and no more than like, this is good information, good research, just good proposals.
Okay, just to keep,
So when it goes to the governor's office or these legislators, they are taking these things in consideration. And I think that's where the conversation is expanding to bring more attention to this work and the need in which we need to address some of these things. For us as an agency, I think there's an opportunity where we are now getting in a position and where I'm advocating for us to do some of the things that's within our control of some of the recommendations, because we provide 15 to 20 recommendations, each year, and some of those are, dealing with TEA or TWC or other, organizations or things that may be beyond our control. But some things we may be able to adapt and implement, provide funding for, the IDD populations and those sort of things. And we've been able to incorporate some of those into some of our grant opportunities. However, based on institutional priority, because they only get maybe one application, how do they prioritize supporting, 50,000 or 250,000 to an IDD intervention versus, academic support or advising wraparound service, mental health, or whatever that is. So that's the challenges. So now I think is in a position where we may be able to be intentional and have something specifically for this population moving forward. So that's what I would like to see. That's what I'm working on, just in the FYI. And I think we're very close to that and having opportunities for the IDD population.
Wonderful. Thank you,
Waylon. Waylon, I'd like to, this is Christine. I'd like to talk about this as well. One of the things that Waylon and I did before when I was chair is we did, I can't remember what committee we spoke in front of, but we went and delivered some of our recommendations directly to some of the other boards within the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. And that way, so they weren't just reading it so they could hear it, but, they were just like, thank you. And that was it too. But, at least they got to hear it out loud. So sometimes we can do that and voice it out loud at other committees.
For sure.
That's a really good, this is Linda Litzinger. That's a really good suggestion. I've been on some, like some of, not all of the boards that were legislated that I've been on. Sometimes as the recommendations go to the legislature from the agency, we get a room in the Capitol and we are there for a period of time and they can ask us questions about the document. Or we can even, sometimes we say what's in the document and then they ask the questions. Sometimes they circulate and there's different topics and we're there to talk about the topics and we feed them. Every kind of thing. So is this one of those boards that could have that interface with legislative staff as they're published?
I'll say potentially, but we also have to be careful as far as how we approach and how we advocate upon the advisory council versus THECB versus your own organization. And when we talk and we speak upon the work that we're doing, we just need to keep that in mind. But if we want to come together and think about what that looks like, I think as a collective group, then I think we can put a framework together and say this is how we're going to approach. This is what we're going to work on. Maybe is reaching out or bringing in some of the senators or legislators. Zaffarini, she's posted she does a lot of work in the field, and sometimes it may just, when y'all see her at the Capitol or someone, talk to them then. How is this going? What were your thoughts? And see if you can garner feedback in that sense. But I think it definitely warrants a conversation and potentially a plan in how we can move forward addressing that.
Hi, this is Jolene. Linda, I think, I know that our organizations, we have the ability to go and advocate and, specifically for pieces of legislation and make very specific recommendations. So I think in that capacity, we're able to do that. And then I know that other organizations, Beth, I'm looking at you, TCDD, can't, go advocate for specific legislation, for or against, but can certainly provide, hey, here's the work that we've been doing. Here's some information. We'd like to educate you about the landscape of higher education for people with IDD, and have those conversations. I'm assuming that would not be problematic.
It gives staff a way to ask us questions about the document.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
All right, Nina?
Yeah, Nina Zuna from Texas Center for Disability Studies. I'm glad we're having this conversation because I do think this report needs to be in the hands of, parents, schools, family members, more folks, so they can do the advocacy, as well. Are we allowed to send the report, I'm assuming, via our listservs, post on our website, or are there any restrictions on that?
No, it's public document, so you can share with any networks you may be willing to send and share the work that we've been doing as well. So
thank you.
Sue?
Thank you. These are all wonderful ideas. Thank you, Linda and Nina, everyone. I'm glad you just brought that up because I have always shared it with my senior leaders. I'm trying to follow up with them as well to see what we can implement on our end through the college. But I mentioned this, and I'm so glad that Linda, you brought this up and everyone's joining, in on this. I was part of that group, that went to Austin, to the legislative, have a legislative briefing. And I know we're not, as being a member of a college, we have our own government affairs, our board, we have certain, I'm not supposed to go and advocate for any kind of legislation. However, we weren't really advocating for legislation. It was a legislative briefing that we had many years ago before this House bill even came out, and this is one of the reasons how this advisory council came to be, and even the collecting of the data came to be because of because of that. and it was our Texas consortium that we had, which no longer exists, but it was called Access College Texas. And we had Senator Zaffarini was at the helm of organizing this legislative briefing, and it was, you know, from both sides, Democrat, Republican. It was not any specific political party. And it was a lunch. And of course, we even invited Dr. Meg Riegel, and she flew in from, you know, from Think College. And we hosted her first in Houston for a community forum that we had first. And then we drove to Austin, and we went and did this presentation. And, you know, it was a wonderful opportunity. And I remember there were legislators from all, like I said, all sides. And we just did some presentations on what currently exists. What are the programs we currently had in Texas? And, you know, giving them an overview, the data, the success, the need, things like that. And then when that was finished, there was some little breakout, you know, during lunch where we were having discussions, but there was no like requesting any kind of legislation or anything like that. However, because we did that, it seemed like not long after, very short after, all of a sudden the House bill comes out, all of a sudden, you know, they're collecting the data, then there's the advisory council. So maybe it might be good to have something like this, because, you know, this advisory council has been created and we've been giving these recommendations now. It would be nice if we could present somewhere just to answer questions, or like you said, not to push for any specific legislation, but just for support, just for awareness, because I'm sure they get a lot of information. And I just wonder how many of them are really reading all of this and understanding, you know, the needs that we have. That's all. That was why I brought it up. Was there anything we can do? I'm trying to see what I can do from the college standpoint with our administration. But I like that idea of us doing something, as long as it's not, you know, we're going there to lobby or add, because we're not supposed to do that.
Thanks, Sue. Before we move forward, Sue, I know you're on a tight time schedule. Did you want to say anything at this time, or?
Oh, yeah, I do have to leave. Okay, so I don't know what happened. Tiffany, I think she just now tried to call me. She's having some issue, but I wanted her to be here because I talked to her last night and she said she was going to be here, but she does have a class a little bit later. And she has said she was going to have to leave early, but I don't know why she didn't make it in. But I was going to brag on her a little bit because they did a little story on her and highlighted her in our Board of Trustee meeting that they had a couple days ago. And there was a video where they interviewed her and it was presented to the board, and it's on our website. If you go to hccs.edu, I can put it in the chat, but there is a video there. And I thought she was going to be here today, so because she said she was. I wanted to congratulate her on that, because she did an awesome, wonderful interview. I was so impressed, how articulate she was, and how, just the progress that she's made, because she's the one that, got graduated fast, got certificate, got an associate degree. Now she's working on her bachelor's. She wants to be a kindergarten teacher. She's not giving up on her dream. She was our graduation speaker. She serves on this council, and it was just a story of self-determination. And so I was excited about that. So, but we're getting excited about the Star Award, and we thank everyone that had part of in that. I know there's others as well. But we're so excited. Our board also made a recognition of that in the meeting as well, and I'm definitely going to be there for the conference. So we're really honored and humbled and everything for the Star Award. And I want to congratulate the others as well. But as far as, it was mainly, I wanted to say something about Tiffany, but I just noticed she tried to call me. So I may just step out to see what's going on, if I can get her in. She said she's not able to get in, so she must be having technical issues. So, okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, everybody, because I have to go to a scholarship luncheon. So take care.
Thanks,
Thank you so
and
much.
congrats again. Thanks for sharing that with Tiffany.
All right.
All right. So let's move to the next agenda item, so we can share one of the latest updates from our recent legislation with Senate Bill 55. And just Sure. Can y'all see my screen? Okay, thank you. All right, so this is, like I say, Senate Bill 55, one of the latest bills that have been passed regarding the IDD population, and has some work for us as an advisory council. So it's my job to kind of bring it to the table, and then from there we'll, start thinking about how we want to approach this work and strategize around that. And this is another one that was brought forth by Zaffarini. So, all right. So this one is regarding the autism spectrum disorder. So the study must identify and track the number of students with autism who graduate from secondary schools in this state. Is this? The number of students who are enrolled at the institutions of higher education, the student financial assistance available to students with ASD who enroll at the institutions of higher education, and graduation rates of students who enroll at higher ed. So this was a study that they are recommend or asking us to take place as we move forward. I think something got out of order, honestly.
The intro slide.
I don't know how that happened. So the board, with the assistance of the Advisory Council on Post-Secondary Education for Persons with IDD, shall conduct a study to determine best practice for assisting students with ASD who are enrolled at institutions of higher education. So I'll just share what that study must look like. So in conducting the study, it shall collaborate with TEA regarding specialized program offered by elementary or secondary schools, and determine how those programs could be replicated or extended to post-secondary institutions. And this may not request, require, or use personally identifiable student information. The study must identify and examine best practices and program models from public and private institutions outside this state that have achieved successful results in working with students with ASD. So not only in the state of Texas, but consider looking at the landscape outside of Texas. I'm missing a slide. And so they're asking for this report or study to be done and completed by 2025, December 1st. And we should submit it just as we do with our other reports regarding any findings or recommendations for legislative action. And this is a one-time study. It's not a repeated study at this time. So we do this one time and that's it, because it expires after January 2026. So it's a short bill, but it's a study specifically regarding ASD and trying to collect, data and information to support this specific population. Just want to go back to the study as far as what we're looking at. So when we look at the, how do we identify and track these students who graduate from secondary schools. That's going to have to come, pretty much from a partnership with TA, as it mentioned. And then as we look at, the number of students enrolled in higher ed, please note that we currently do collect some information on our enrollment requests from each institution, whether they identify as an intellectual disability or having autism with or without IDD or intellectual disability. So we have some data on this already on this piece, but then we need to take it further and looking at the financial assistance available to these specific students and the graduation rates. Any questions regarding this specific bill? Again, this is pretty much for informational purposes and knowing that this is going to be a part of another part of our roles as far as trying to conduct a study to get some of this information. Granted, it's not due till 2025, but I think we can incorporate some of this and what we may find in our report that's due next year. And then it will lead the way for, a comprehensive report for 2025.
This is Linda. I have a question.
Yes.
What are the parameters of who is being studied? Is it everybody that's in any college program? And are they being supported enough within their degree program? Or is it the populations that we've been supporting through this committee? Has anybody said what the parameters are?
I mean, personally, I haven't heard anything as far as those parameters, but I think that's where we probably need to come together to see how we would want to put that framework together and see who we want to reach out and be inclusive of the study. Has anyone else discussed this with their organization or anything at this time? I know Laura was Villarreal was going to share some information with us about this, but she had a personal matter that she had to attend to, so she didn't know if she was going to be able to chime in or not.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Linda.
No, go ahead, Nina.
I was just saying, when I just briefly kind of read through Senate Bill 55 and I saw the focus on autism spectrum disorder, I mean, that is very specific, right? So it doesn't necessarily, I guess, include just post-secondary programs, because I mean, UT has a program where they support students with autism spectrum disorder that are admitted to UT Austin. So that does kind of broaden the scope when I read that. So I don't know if that's something, that we have to follow it to a T, because that would include outside of our post-secondary programs for students with IDD.
Yeah. I think the window is open for that as well, Nina. But again, it's what we can, kind of track and get support on to kind of look at this data and how we can.
Yeah, I guess the reason I mentioned it, because it would be a huge undertaking then, because it would be, there's so many students with autism spectrum disorder across all the institutes of higher ed in the state of Texas, some that identify themselves with the Student Services for Disability and some that do not. So, I mean, it would be a big undertaking for this committee to, do it for both populations, or I guess both programs.
So as I read the bill and advocated for it, I thought they were talking about autism spectrum disorder in all the programs, the bigger picture. I just through people I know sometimes students really have difficulty in their regular program. Maybe their capstone isn't accepted and they break every stick of furniture in their apartment. Um, Things like that I've heard about, and I feel for people who aren't getting the support they need at their college. And so I would like to see that study be that broad. I don't know what Senator Z had in mind, but that's my opinion. Thank you.
I agree. The way I read it was, and I would think it would be people who self-identify or, who are documented with whatever Office of Disability Services that the college has. I was thinking we use Daisy to track, and I'm sure everybody, I don't know, I'm assuming most colleges do, where you have to track and send to the state each semester. So that might be a good way. Anybody who's self-identified with documentation as someone who has autism, which would capture our students and the students within the other sides of the college. So that's the way I read it, is all students who identify as having ASD. That's what I was thinking. That's how I read it. But yeah, it would be nice to get some clarification, or maybe us clarify. Maybe we start with one and then move. I don't know, but I would also like to see it all of everybody, which I know is going to be difficult, but I would like to see, the broad scope of it as well. I agree with Linda.
All right. Elizabeth?
Hi, I just wanted to say that I agree with Linda and Christine that I think this is, to get a more complete picture of what the situation is like for students with autism. I think it's important that we get the whole spectrum of people who are in specific programs to support them and people who are not. Especially, I think, if this is legislatively focused, I think getting the picture of these students don't have support and they're not graduating, I think that's a better incentive moving forward for better legislative support.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth. Nina?
Yeah, the only additional thing I was going to add is it might exclude some of our post-secondary programs from this study, because our students are not officially enrolled in an institute of higher education. So we might need to, I guess, I don't know if we'd want to even include that, as part of the report and have, something separate, but how it's written, it is that are enrolled at institutes of higher ed.
Good point.
When you're saying that, just to clarify, are you thinking about individuals that may be enrolled in a program versus ones that are in like community courses? Like, is that what, like, or continuing education? Sometimes it's called community courses. Sometimes they're called community education courses. I'm thinking about individuals that take those that it doesn't require necessarily enrollment in a program, but they're still, they can be training programs, skill development, things like that. Is that what you were thinking, Nina, or was it? Because I'd like to capture those too. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't thinking differently than you.
Yeah, I mean, there are those programs too. We did have one of those too at UT Austin a while ago. That was part of the continuing education program. It's no longer there, but what I was referring to is that some post-secondary programs go through what's called the Comprehensive Transition Program, and they get their certification from the federal government that they are part of the Institute of Higher Ed. But there are some other post-secondary programs for students with ID that do not have that credential, and they're not considered students at an Institute of Higher Ed. Thank you, Tracy.
Thanks for the clarity. That's helpful.
So we our program is part of the continuing education part, so they earn CEUs rather than college credit, but they still get a student ID and everything like that. So our college still considers them enrolled at ACC. So even though they didn't have to go through the ACC credit side population. So maybe that would help because our students are still included in that full list that the college sends to the state. So I think it would include those. I'm not sure. I just know our students would be included, and we are part of a continuing education rather than credit. So I don't know if that helps.
Anyone else? Any other discussions, feedback at this time? All right. All right, seeing none, I think we definitely need to probably put some more attention on that and get some more clarification on a few items, but ultimately, it could possibly be a large uptake. But I think if we can strategize with lay out the requirements that they're asking for, what we have access to, what we don't, and have a committee and collect things just as we do with, our accessibility report. I'm sure we can come up with something if it's something the study needs to, if it's something we need to issue out as far as part of the study versus just getting research and reaching out to institutions, those sort of things. That may be a possibility as well. I'm going to double check with our data management office to ensure what we already have access to. From my understanding from the, like I said previously, from the CBM, semesterly reporting, I think we already capture some type of data with those students identifying with autism. So, and that is just anyone enrolled at the institution, not inclusive to just an IDD program. So, and I think that'll be beneficial just in itself. So otherwise, it's just more so, okay, what else is out there? What type of programs or models that we can possibly utilize to support this group of students moving forward? All right. Moving on to the accessibility report, I've shared the last two reports that this group has produced. A lot of good information in there, and so I can kind of go through it if I need to. But I think most folks kind of understand what the need is for that work. For those that are new. Let's see. I may be able to share another document. Yeah, let me share this just a quick. So this is from, pretty much how the advisory council was created and some of the requirements that we are charged to carry out with. Our main goal is to review the policies and practices that increase access for the IDD population and consider distributing educational outreach materials that we might have created or find that may be most valuable. So that's something we probably need to bring a little bit more attention to that we haven't in the past. And you all can easily go to, this chapter 61, section 61066641 to look at this. I can also share the document, but you can see the required representation of our committee members and what we are expected to have on our or in our council or as representatives. Let's see. So the advisory council shall study the accessibility, provide advice regarding resolving those barriers to access in higher ed for students or persons with IDD, and then also identify, evaluate, and develop recommendations to address barriers accessing those who are in foster care. So that's also important part of our work. And meet at least quarterly, submit a board. That's just our activities like every year, submitting a report saying how many times we met, or is there any relevant changes or to rules that we may want to highlight at that time beyond what we may include in our accessibility report, or just anything that we want to include at that time. Any other recommendations for outreach and materials, and also any grants that may be available, loan programs for outreach efforts. And that the accessibility report that I'm referring to for the new folks is due every even year. So we just submitted one last year, 2022. This is the odd year, 2023. So next year, another report will be due, and it's typically due probably around August 1st. So if we can get it, completed. So when we look at that, we probably only have about 6 or 7 months to, put together another report. But I'm proud to say is kind of like the pace in which we have been operating with our reports previously. So I know we can get that done and provide some good outcomes with that. So in addition to that, this is where it acts, including graduation rates, geographic distribution of institutions providing these opportunities, description of those programs that may be available, and then so addressing any gaps and identifying problems to assessing higher ed. So those are the main things we try to focus on. So that's what we'll be looking forward to. And I'm happy to talk through that. I know last year we had several committee members when we were talking or working through this project, and some members served on several committees. We had one with inclusion, finance, outreach, and outcomes. I think there was one for like special topics as well that we considered. So we can kind of go through that same design, or we can wait and have a discussion like maybe with the new presiding officer based on their vision and what they may want. But I think at this time, this is our council, so we can definitely open it up for discussion at this time, and then maybe confirm, committee heads and what those committees may look like at the next meeting or shortly after. I'm just considering the time and how we need to really start thinking about that and focusing on the work that we want to complete with this next report. Linda, I see your hand is raised.
Thank you. Linda Litzinger here. I would like to be on the committee or chair the committee that talks about how information gets to families across Texas to try to improve a single point page that's accurate and available so parents can compare and contrast. And I, that's been a recommendation before, but I don't think we've ever gotten funding. So is there a funding stream that we need to be inputting now? Similarly to HHSC has funding recommendations due by November 22nd. Is THECB calling for funding already, where we could maybe get something funded?
So when you say funding, like what would be?
Like to get it put into the next biennium budget.
Okay, so special items.
I mean, would you all need more manpower in order to have that hosted there?
That's a good point. I mean, I don't have the for sure answer on that piece,
Okay.
but I do know it has been in consideration for in which we ask for funding for our student success division and how we operate. And that's why I say I think we've been able to shed some funding to at least carve out some funding for our advisory council to so we can meet and those sort of things for us. But also we're looking at funding that now can be possibly carved out to possibly support programming or students on these campuses. And but on the other side, as when you're talking about like the outreach initiatives, are you thinking more so funding to collect like to build something and resources to distribute, or are you more so just saying like creating a marketing piece to share that this funding is available for these institutions or so forth?
No, I'm talking about not each well, I know each institution may or may not be posting it now. We've already seen that. But I'm talking about a one-stop, um, maybe hosted by Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, and maybe that's a half an FTE or something to gather the information from all the colleges and post it in a manner where you can literally go through and see how all these compare to each other on every type of category, cost, whether you can live there or not, anything that a family might be looking for in order to really start looking at what's available for my transitioning child.
Okay. So a comprehensive list of the programs that's easily accessible and to
Yes.
navigate for the
I
students.
think that's our biggest need in order to make all this happen.
Okay. Noted.
And we did create one. I still have a spreadsheet of all the colleges that we researched. Of course, it might need some updating because I think there's a couple more now. Bobcat Rise is not on there, and that's a new one. So, and I don't know if UNT LeVar is on there, but we need to check. But we do have a list with 23 programs that I can forward to everybody as well. If because I'm sure some people don't have access because they're new.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's our best kept secret, and I'd like to get it everywhere, please.
Absolutely, I agree.
Christine, thank you. This is Brenda Barrio. I'm wondering if we can have this as a living document, especially as we continue to increase these types of programs. That would be wonderful, and then that way we can share it with folks. I know Think College, of course, keeps a good track, but that doesn't mean that it's comprehensive amongst what other programs are happening. So, and we are the ones that have to let Think College know, of course. So, Christine, thank you for having that list.
No problem. I think we created it, Waylon, you probably remember, but 3 years ago, I want to say 3 years ago on the committee. So yeah, it was created in this committee, but I'll share it. And then Waylon, if you don't mind sending it to everybody.
Any other feedback or discussion around committees or anyone having interest on committees, serving on committee heads? any interest on as presiding officer, anything for a discussion on that at this time? Because what I would say, we could host another meeting maybe before the end of the year as a quick meeting to like for elections. Um, that way, maybe that person us can talk about or have time to think about, just getting organized for top of the year, or we can wait till January and do the election in those four. So I'm open to see how y'all want to move forward as far as next steps, considering the time and things we have going on.
Excuse me, this is Nina. And I'm wondering if you can just maybe send by email like an outline, the first report we have to do that's due in August, accessibility one, and then start planning for the Senate Bill 55, the next big thing to work on. And then maybe folks can respond by email, at least kind of initially start talking about interest. So when we meet in January, we'll have a better sense of who's interested in what.
Okay. Any others?
We could ask for anybody who wants, is there anybody who wants to nominate? That's how we've done it before. Somebody's nominated somebody in the group and then they either accept and then we vote on it, accept or decline, and then we vote on it if they accept. So if anybody is interested in nominating either yourself or someone else.
Yeah. Is it, you want to do nominations now? I said, sorry.
Oh, I was just thinking, oh, so you're asking, should we do it now or should we vote, have a separate meeting? Is that what you're asking?
We won't be able to vote now, but you could do nominations now to start the discussion. And then if anybody else, I mean, you can accept or decline it, then the next meeting we can vote on it. This was a non-voting agenda item, so but we can definitely do nominations if y'all like, or having, to
Oh
start.
no, I was confused. My bad. I was confused. But so we should start thinking about who for the next meeting. Gotcha.
Oh yeah, we definitely would need to do that now. But if that's why I say if we have some strong interest at this time, it will kind of dictate as far as when we have our next meeting and those sort of things, because I'll be able to get that feedback. Otherwise, it's just kind of left open.
Waylon, this is Brenda Barrio. I'm wondering if there is a way to know, what the commitment may be, whether it's hours or just time in general, and what the responsibilities. I think that might be helpful.
Yeah, so that's good. I mean, Ashley's not here today, but Christine has served in that capacity before, and maybe she could tell you how much time commitment that might have been. For from me, I would say you probably at least want to dedicate a couple hours a week to the work, and then as you start getting closer towards uh, due dates for reporting, it tends to increase over the summer, just to try to wrap everything around and getting your committee together to get their reports so you can put it all together. Other than that, it's a couple hours every quarter for a quarterly meeting. Um, And beyond that, if you assist with some of the subcommittees or if you happen to join those, that's based on your leadership or how you would like to do it. Otherwise, you may just have a meeting with your committee heads just to get updates and those sort of things versus attending all of their committee meetings. So you may just have one. Other than that, I would like to try to keep some type of regular cadence of meetings with the presiding officer just to check in to see how things are going. Is there anything you need from me on my end? How can I support or we support as an agency? Those sort of things. And that doesn't have to be every week, but maybe every 2 weeks, every month. And as we get closer to reporting, it may be more frequent. So that's just me, kind of thinking through it. At the same time, Christine, you're more than welcome to kind of share some insight on your experience.
Yeah, so it's roughly around 5 hours a month. It's not a lot. And as Waylon said, as you get closer to the end where that report is due, it's more meetings. So, but never more than 10 hours a month. I mean, I even feel like it's not 10 hours even at the most, but just to give you a good scope, and so, yeah, and then we just had committees, and I just had the committees report to me afterwards through an email. But if you wanted to meet with them directly, and I did sometimes. So, and then every once in a while, there's some little things where you have to go and. I think I only had one during my time where I had to present at another place at the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. But I ended up not being able to do it, but it was only because there was a lot of personal illness in my family. But other than that, it's completely doable. So it's not that much outside of the realm of what we normally do. So you can fold it quite nicely into that.
Thank you, both Christine and Waylon. Appreciate it. That helps tremendously.
Yeah, it's nice to know what you're getting into.
I just looked at the bill. It does not have an end date. We're not ever being sunsetted by the bill. And it doesn't say how long the term should be for the people who serve on it. So it's really, it really gives a lot of latitude. And I think you should know that if you're thinking about chairing it.
So statute does say that, our committee members are on a 2-year term. And so when we look at the 2-year terms, it doesn't say that the terms can't be renewed. And that's why many of you are still here with us today, because of your interest is still here and those sort of things. So it's kind of like if you're still interested, you're enjoying it, you're welcome to stay and continue being a part of the committee and the work we're doing. But I would think or hope, those that are interested in leading, they can at least carry out, that year or 2 years for the reporting purposes and such. So
thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, no problem. I just think even though there's no hard like saying you can't be renewed or like an opt-out period as such, the presiding officer, I think, should be, rotating. Like they should only do like one term at a time. So
Sounds great. Thank you so much again.
yeah. Any other questions, concerns, interests, nominations? All right. So we'll take it from there. And what I'll do is send an email out because there's several folks that were not here today as well. to give them an opportunity to just keep it in mind. If you have any thoughts or you want to, meet with me one-on-one to really like kind of discuss it more in depth, feel free, and we can, talk through it. But other than that, we will have to have a presiding officer by the end of our next meeting. So I'll leave it up to you all if you would want to meet, within the next month or, before Christmas, the holidays, or would you like to meet in January to have this meeting? Please note I have to have at least 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks window for us to schedule an open meeting. So we have to have it posted within 2 weeks. Otherwise, I can't have it. So we'll need to know, like, kind of now, due to Thanksgiving holidays and everything. We need to start trying to plan that and know what we're looking at with the dates.
Hi, Waylon. This is Brenda Barrio again. I suggest we meet after the semester is over. I don't know when everybody's semester, or maybe after the week of, or after December 11th.
Okay.
That gives you 2 weeks.
See. December 15th, potentially. We have that higher edge conference that 11, 12, 13, so I'll be out. And I hate to do like the 22nd of December. I don't think I even want to be here, so I plan to be out. But if that's y'all's date, I'll make it happen.
The 15th works for me.
Yes.
Just price.
Brenda Barrio, it also works for me.
Does it not work for anybody? Let's
It works if it's the morning, but not the afternoon.
So same time, 10 a.m., 10 to 12 per se.
Sounds good.
And it could just be like an hour meeting, or, something short just for, elections purposes. Now, if we want additional agenda items, we can add that here too. But I think the main purpose is elections for a presiding officer. And then if we want to go into anything about, committees or anything like that. So that's the 2 items I'll put on the agenda. If y'all want anything else, just let me know, because I'll send this probably Monday for a request for a meeting. Good deal? Okay. All right. So that's it with that announcements. I just wanted to congratulate the Star Award recipients and those that, just even participated or submitted a program for consideration. I think it was very special for us to have 2 of the 5 recipients to be a focus of this population. And I don't think we ever got one award since we started this, to be represented in this fashion. So to have 2, I just want to congratulate y'all and thank y'all for all the hard work and things that you all do. to continue, doing this for our students, and also bringing awareness and continue advocating so we can make more changes in the near future. So thanks again to UNT and Houston Community College. We're both the award recipients for their programs.
Yeah, thank you, Waylon, and thank you for everybody for encouraging us. But it was a very, very nice surprise for UNT Elevar to be recognized in this way. So we're very much excited to be part of the reception on the 12th, I believe. So we're getting our video ready and our poster ready. So thanks
Right.
again.
Yeah, good deal. All right. Any other announcements from around the room?
I got a couple, if you don't mind. One, the Think Higher, Think College PSA, National PSA is happening right now. We have a huge campaign going on. Elevar was invited to be one of 3 programs to be showcased, mainly our students, to talk about more inclusive post-secondary education programs. I'll drop the website. There's a whole toolkit that you can share with folks. We're trying to spread the word to parents, families, and especially students as early as possible. Elementary school age is never early enough to start thinking about college, so I'll do that. And then to add that the Elevar admissions process started early this year, so our applications actually open October 15 and they're closing December 15, in case anybody wants to join us at UNT next year.
Thanks. Anyone
I
else?
also want to add, I added the 2 spreadsheets with all the colleges that do IDD to the chat. I also sent them to Waylon, so he'll probably send those out after the meeting or something. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Last call. All right. Thank you all. I just need a motion to adjourn.
This is Brenda Barrio. I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
This is Christine Price. I second that.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Seeing none, we are adjourned at 11:26 a.m. So thank you all for attending, and I look forward to seeing y'all in a few weeks. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye, guys.